self-care quilt block for the Live Well, Live Strong quilt. So we have 2 of them that we'll be working on this week. We'll be working on the classic size of the bow tie quilt block, and I'm going to give you instructions for that today. And then on Friday we're going to be working on the paper piece version. So let me go ahead and show you. This is all part of the Live Well, Live Strong quilt pattern, which is right here, and you can get that at stitchesquilting.com. We're doing a sew along. There are 26 quilt blocks about health and wellness for women, and I think this is a great time for some health and wellness for women. Hello, Amanda! It is so good to see all of you guys. So behind me is the classic version of the Live Well, Live Strong quilt. This is the teeny tiny foundation paper piecing version. The classic version is 60 by 60 inches. This one is 20 by 20 inches, which is so cute. And then right over here behind me is another alternative way that you can make the Live Well, Live Strong quilt. And it's with the negative space, and where the quilt blocks are kind of floating all around, and that goes into twin, queen, king, or full. So let's get started on making the self-care quilt block, and it is so fun to see you guys, and I think it's a great week to talk about self-care and to talk about taking care of ourselves, and I can't wait to share with you the huge adventure that I have had helping out my in-laws, but I'll kind of do that at the end of the video because I don't want to get things mixed up. So, but I will tell you all about what happened and what I've been doing, and thank goodness for self-care, because self-care is just like really critical. Remember, you can get your pattern at stitchesquilting.com. It is $29, but you have instructions for 26 different quilt tops. You can make the quilt. You have instructions to make it classic, negative space, foundation paper piece, and also the bed runner bonus too. So remember, there are self-care worksheets that come along with this, and go download your worksheets too. It's just good things to focus on. But let's get started with our stitching. So Amanda, you were released from the doctor on Monday, and you can do your physical therapy for your arm, and you are sewing again. I am so proud of you. Oh, Dolores, I miss you too. Lynette, it's so good to see you, and everybody else. So I've been sitting here for like 15 minutes waiting for noon to come so I could go live. So let's go ahead and just switch the camera. I want to show you my overhead view of how to do this quilt block. So let's get started. Okay. So the quilt block is this one right here. Really, this is just a 4-patch quilt block. So you've got 4 different squares. And then all we're doing is we're just going to do a little offset triangle right here on the corners of the 2 light blue, hi Kimberly, on the 2 light blue squares. So I started that because I've been sitting here waiting. I know it's silly, but I started that, and how we're going to do that is we're going to just draw a line with our pencil from point to point on our little blueberry square here, or whatever square you're using. And you guys, I'm so excited. Can you see the glow on my sewing machine right here? I installed the light that goes underneath the sewing machine. We're going to see if it works right. Okay, so and I put a little bit of the light down here. I don't know if I'm supposed to do that or not. Probably not, but I'm trying it because I really like a lot of light. Oh, Jane, it's so good to see you. And everything is going so well. I just feel so grateful. So remember, I did a small pencil line from end to end on this square, and now we're stitching just right on top of it. So that's what I'm doing here. We're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to pull this up. And now what we're going to do is take this down to the cutting table, and on our stitching line, we're going to place our ruler 1/4 of an inch from our stitching line and trim off this excess fabric. And I might be able to use this excess fabric for this little bit on the foundation paper piecing block that we're going to do on Friday. So let me go ahead and bring this one over, and I am going to go ahead and trim that off again. So there's my extra little pieces. Can't wait to tell you guys everything that's been going on. and let you guys give you guys an update. But I'll do that at the end of the video for people that just don't want to be there for the gabbing. Now we are going to press this over. So we're just getting just a nice little block there with that little offset thing. And now, so let's go ahead and lay this out again. Here's the block that I'm making. It's a bow tie quilt block, which I think is perfect. I wanted the bow tie quilt block to be the quilt block for the self-care block. And so let's go ahead and lay this out. So we're going to put these two opposite each other, the light blue with the little offset triangle. And then we're going to take our other solid blueberry fabrics. And this is a blueberry, is the shade that's used in the original quilt. And then we're going to just sew these together and sew them this row together, and then together. So let's put right sides together. And if you are using the kit of fabric from the Live Well, Live Strong quilt, this fabric right here is it is not a solid. It has a front and a back side. And we're going to just line that up. So let's go ahead and stitch this one together. And then we'll press it. I'm going to make sure that my little ends are matching there, so that we've got a really good stitch. Because whenever you add a triangle in the mix, things can just get pulled the wrong way. So let's go ahead and see here. Here we go. You guys, it feels so good to be home. Okay, now I'm gonna string feed this through my sewing machine. Now we are going to put these right sides together, and I'm gonna put this through my sewing machine. Now, everybody, please make comments. How do you take care of yourself? And what kind of self-care works for you? Let's give each other tons of ideas about self-care. Self-care is one of the greatest gifts that you can give to yourself as an aspect of health and wellness for women. And I love, 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 love that this week is all about self-care. So what are some things that you guys do to try to have self-care in your life and to fit that in as maybe you're a caregiver or a parent, and you're taking care of other people? I'm going to go ahead and put this, put my seams to the darker side. Okay, so now I've got these sweet little rows. I'm going to match my seams in the center, so I'm going to put these right sides together. I will nest these seams so that they match up and my points are going to match. And you can see the flaps of the seam allowance are going opposite directions. I'm going to just feel that those are nested in there, and then I'm going to stick a pin in it because it'll just kind of keep things a little bit better. Okay, so then we're going to bring this together, and this quilt block is going to be done. Okay, so Lynette, you're a grandma homeschooling grandsons during COVID. Yes, during COVID, it is definitely a time where we need self-care in our lives. And especially as Lynette is homeschooling her grandsons, which is so amazing that she's doing that. And what an amazing thing to do to those parents, for those parents and for those grandsons, to have a sweet grandma helping out with with the homeschooling or online school during a pandemic. They will have memories of this. So self-care comes at night, Lynette says. I agree. Sometimes my self-care comes at night. If my kids are not here as they were growing, self-care often came right when they went to school during regular days. Okay, Amanda says Sunday is my day, and she gives herself a spa day. I love that. I love that. Okay, so now I'm going to just press this open, and this little quilt block is going to be done. So here we are. We've got our self-care quilt block. Very, very nice. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to switch it to the front camera, and let's talk about self-care for just a minute of some different ideas. I've got some different thoughts on here. There are definitely things that can be barriers to self-care, where we're not taking care of ourselves, and sometimes we don't slow enough down from taking care of other people that we don't take care of ourselves. And remember the story of being on an airplane and putting an oxygen mask on you first before you do your child or someone else next to you. So that never made sense to me, but we do have to take care of ourselves in order to be able to take care of others. And then we also need to be as kind and generous to ourselves as we are to other people too. So those are some things, but having self-care in our lives can bring more of a calm, relaxed nature. It can increase our energy. The other things that we need to focus on, it can give us some balance. We can feel lighter, and we can have more of a tranquil feeling and disposition about ourselves, and who doesn't want that? So remember, there are different types of self-care routines that we can add in our lives. There are daily routines, weekly routines, monthly routines, and yearly routines. So you want to try to implement self-care in a way that works in your life, that works with your routine, because all of us are unique and we all have different things to take care of. So I know today I had to drive over to my home, and I took a longer route, and I really just enjoyed the scenery. I enjoyed looking over the city. I was able to look over I was way up high, and to look at the city and the views and everything's the vistas, and to kind of take that in and to slow down the pace a little bit and to just enjoy ourselves. So sometimes it's reading a book. Sometimes it's just taking a quiet moment and taking a breath between deep breaths. So there's so many different things that we can do for self-care. And part of that for me is hanging out with all of you guys, because I so enjoy you guys. But I wanted to let you guys know kind of what happened with me. My father-in-law went into the emergency room, and so I went up to their home to go stay. He's 101 years old, and he's so cute. Oh, and his wife is 98. So I went to go spend the night last Thursday up at their home. They live completely independently up at their home, and to stay with them. So I spent the night Thursday night, and I was all in my pajamas, and I made the guest bedroom bed all up, and Betty and I, we were already having fun and laughing, and it feels good to spend time with like girl time like that, and to be casual. And then we got a phone call that Brant was actually coming back home. The emergency room said he could spend the night at the hospital, or he could go home. So he decided to come home, and he had an aortic heart valve put in 3 weeks ago. So he was having a hard time. His groin was bothering him, where they went in to put the aortic valve in, and so that's kind of what was happening. So he decided to come home, and then they were going to call him for an appointment the next day. But so we all went to bed, and instead of coming back home, I decided to spend the night there, even though I didn't have to. And but at 4 o'clock in the morning, I woke up to noises, and Brant was bleeding out from his groin everywhere, you guys. I mean, it was going everywhere. And thank goodness, such a tender mercy, he had shown me that groin area and how it was irritating him and what was going on and which side of his body it was, because there was so much blood. There was no way to figure out where it was coming from unless I had known that. So I quickly grabbed a towel, put pressure there, had his wife help me put pressure there, and then called 911 and did all those things, and they came. It took 9 minutes, and he was alive. Anyways, I was so happy. And I felt really uncomfortable in that position. But sometimes we have to get comfortable being in uncomfortable positions. And sometimes that disposition of just saying, I'm going to get comfortable in this uncomfortable position, helps us get through something that might be a little stressful. And taking it one step at a time. Don't think of the whole thing at once. He got to the hospital. They gave him some blood transfusions. They stabilized him with liquids, but then with fluids. But then we learned he had a staph infection. So now he just got discharged yesterday. When it came to Monday, sorry I wasn't live, but he's an attorney and his boys are all attorneys, so they had to work. And I left from up there with Betty, and then I ran to the hospital to because that's when doctors are rounding in the morning, so you got to kind of be there. And he's 101, it's hard for him to hear, so you got to kind of be there to interpret. But you guys, he's doing so good, and he's home. He's got an IV fluid thing that's coming into him. He'll have to have that from 4 to 6 weeks to make sure that everything is good with that staph infection. I spent the night again last night to just make sure that he's got his strength and things like that. But, self-care is so important. And I have to say, Betty and I, we were kind of in shock after everything that happened and after he went to the hospital. But we just took care of ourselves, and I made sure that we took care of each other. And I also made sure to call for help and to get the other sons there and the other kids there so that we all had a really big support system. So there are times that we do need to just slow it down and to take it easy. And then Betty and I, the next day, she also keeping routines. We kept her routine going, and it was comforting to cook her regular breakfast that she normally has and to do all those kind of things. And I think sometimes those routines are soothing to us. But I want you to know that we also, as the days progressed, as he was in the hospital, Betty and I, we played cards together. They still get the newspaper, and she loves to do the puzzles in the newspaper. We do the puzzles. We would take naps. We would take care of ourselves. And those are the things that then sustain you so that then you can go on and to keep caregiving or to do what you need to do. So don't forget to take care of you. And remember, sometimes we might be a little overwhelmed, but if we take it step by step and kind of dismiss our overwhelm and say, I'm going to just take it one piece at a time, then that's what we need to do. And we need to take care of ourselves so that then we can take care of other people. I have to say, all of you guys are just amazing, and you guys sustain me and take care of me too. And I want to thank you for that. And I hope that we have a relationship where we all take care of each other. And I think we do that. So you guys, don't forget about self-care this week, and take care of you guys, and just kind of slip that self-care in different moments of your lives, in different moments of your days and within your weeks, that you have some self-care routines in there to take care of you. And then we can better take care of other people too. So you guys, I'm so glad that things are stable. I'm so glad that we can push through hard things, and I know you guys can push through hard things and be resilient too. So we are so grateful. I'm so grateful for all of you. And I'm a little bit behind because my sweet little laptop, it's a really expensive laptop, because remember, I have this huge desktop that does all the video stuff, but my laptop, the plug where you put in the jack, where you put in the plug, it was not working. So I have that piece that should be coming today for my laptop, because I take that thing with me everywhere. So I didn't quite have my laptop up at their home. So anyways, I'm so excited, and I can't wait to fix my laptop, hopefully today, fingers crossed. And I am so excited about getting some work done and connecting with all you guys. Remember, we have the Live Well, Live Strong sew-along. We will do this quilt block right here on Friday with the foundation paper piecing. I have everything sitting here ready. The next quilt block after this is balance. And we'll talk about having balance in your lives. So that's definitely a critical one and a good one to talk about and to just kind of infuse into ourselves. So let's focus on self-care. Let me know all the stuff that you guys are doing and that you do for self-care, because that will inspire me too. Anyways, I will talk to you guys a little bit later. Thank you for everything, and we'll see you on Friday at noon. So have fun. Bye-bye.